again in 3 parts, in word and silence and then music. During the silence and the music, you are invited to come and light your own silent candles. As you breathe into your bodies and into this space. These are words from a poet about praying. Praying by Mary Oliver. It doesn't have to be the blue iris. It could be weeds in a vacant lot or a few small stones. Just pay attention. Then patch a few words together and don't try to make them elaborate. This isn't a contest, but the doorway into thanks and a silence in which another voice may speak. Let us hold this time in silence. It sometimes takes some convincing for people, this proposition that poetry is for everyone. Some people think of poetry as an obscure art form like jazz or classical music that you need to maybe be smart enough to understand or hip enough to get. But poetry, both the receiving and the understanding, and also the writing, is for everyone. From our 9-year-old selves who have something to say about the world and to the world, to our 90-year-old selves who are still open to hearing something new about the world and about ourselves. My earliest introduction to poetry was in elementary school, and it was Gwendolyn Brooks. In a moment, we're going to hear Gwendolyn Brooks, so this is the cue for us to be getting that video of Gwendolyn Brooks ready and up onto our screen and sharing on our screen. So I heard Gwendolyn Brooks. This poem was not written in the 80s. This poem was written in the late 50s. But when I first heard Gwendolyn Brooks, it was the 80s, and it was the age of rap and rhythm. And Gwendolyn Brooks introduced me to this idea that poetry, what seems so fancy, can really be about music and rhythm and a vibe. And so we're going to hear, if we're ready, are we?
It's sharing. It's sharing on Zoom, but we don't see it here. So we can hear it.
Well, if we can hear it, that will be good enough. We're going to hear Gwendolyn Brooks in her own words reading her poem, We Real Cool.
Would prefer it if the textbook compilers and the anthologists would assume that I've written a few other poems. I wrote it because I was passing by a pool hall in my community one afternoon during school time, and I saw therein a little bunch of boys, I say here in this poem, 7, and they were shooting pool. But instead of asking myself, why aren't they in school? I asked myself, I wonder how they feel about themselves. And just perhaps they might have considered themselves contemptuous of the establishment, or at least they wanted to feel that they were contemptuous of the establishment, might want to bump their noses at the establishment, and I represented the establishment with the month of June, which is a nice, gentle, non-controversial, and joyful, pleasant, fragrant month that everybody loves. This poem has been banned here and there because of the word jazz, which some people have considered a sexual reference. That was not my intention, though I have no objection if it helps anybody. But I was thinking of music. The pool players, 7 at the Golden Shoal. We real cool, we let's groove, we learn, lick, we strike, straight, we sing, sit, we then June, we jazz, June, we dive through. I'm going to read you 3 more poems.
Thank you. So this was my early introduction to poetry and rhythm, but also to this idea of Black art and Black culture being something much larger than myself. Poetry, for lots of elementary school children in the 80s, especially in urban New Jersey. But I imagine in most urban places in those ages, in those days, poetry introduced us to a world of culture and a way of seeing ourselves as important, as creators of something beautiful and something meaningful. Most people are introduced to this by the work of the Harlem Renaissance, rich with poetry. Langston Hughes and Claude McKay, Countee Cullen. Langston Hughes, everybody probably knows, I Too Sing America. Let America be America again. Let it be the dream it used to be. Let it be the pioneer on the plain, seeking a home where he himself is free. America never was America to me. And yet I swear this oath, America will be. We, the people, must redeem the land, the mines, the plants, the rivers, the mountains, and the endless pain. All the stretch of these great green states, and make America again. I love that poem. But the one that is more devastating is actually a predecessor of the Harlem Renaissance. It's Paul Laurence Dunbar, We Wear the Mask. I see some nods. We wear the mask that grins and lies. It hides our cheeks and shades our eyes. This debt we pay to human guile. With torn and bleeding hearts, we smile and mouth with myriad subtleties. Why should the world be overwise in counting all our tears and sighs? Nay, let them only see us while we wear the mask. We smile, but oh, great Christ, our cries to thee from tortured souls arise. We sing, but oh, the clay is vile beneath our feet, and long the mile. But let the world dream otherwise. We wear the mask. This poetry, this pride in Blackness, mostly, though there were many female poets of the Harlem Renaissance, mostly stayed in the realm of men and men's experiences until the 70s, when we really start to get poetry from Black women. And by this time, I am a teenager. I am a young Black woman coming into myself and introduced to these poems from Maya Angelou, phenomenal woman, and Nikki Giovanni. And so we have a poem from Nikki Giovanni that we will hear her reading herself. But I want to give you a taste of the Maya Angelou, who is writing this poem. She opens it by talking about how people wonder at her confidence. And where does it come from? It's in the reach of my arms, the span of my hips, the stride of my step, the curl of my lip. I'm a woman, phenomenal woman. That's me. Here's Nikki Giovanni, ego tripping, and there may be a reason why. Maybe.
We're kind of looking for a real poem called Ego Tripping. I was born in the Congo. I walked to the first president of the States. I designed a pyramid so tough that a star that only glows in 1 year falls into the center, giving divine perfect light and bad. I sat on the throne drinking nectar with my mom. I got hops in an ice age Europe to cool my thirst. My oldest daughter is never tea. The tears from my birth pains gave me life. I am a beautiful woman. I gaze on the forest and run out Sahara Desert. With a packet of goats, meat, and a change of clothes, I crossed it in 2 hours. I'm a gazelle. So swift, you can't catch me. For a birthday present when he was 3, I gave my son a camel and elephant. He gave me Rome for Mother's Day. My strength rose ever on. My son Noah from New York, and I stood proudly at the helm as we sailed on a salt summer day. I turned myself into myself in the Jesus. Clementine, Milo, and May. All praises, all praises. I am the one who would save you. I sowed diamonds in my backyard. My flower was a living raven. The flowers were my fingernails and semi-precious jewels. On a trip north of my cold through my nose, giving warning to the Arab world. I am so hip, even my Arabs are correct. I sailed west to reach east and had to round along the earth as I went. The hair from my head thin, the gold was laid across 3 continents. I am so perfect, so divine, so ethereal, so surreal. I cannot be comprehended except by my permission. I mean, I can fly like a bird in the sky.
She said, I am so hip, even my errors are correct.
If your booty looks like this, if your belly looks like this, this Monday, April 13th, we start Tai Chi Challenge for beginners.
What I learned from,
Program for beginners.
maybe we could just turn here we go, the poetry of Nikki Giovanni was that it can be fun. She is my favorite poet. She passed away in 2024. And one of my favorite poems from her is this funny, buzzy little poem, I wrote a good omelet. I wrote a good omelet and ate a hot poem after loving you. Buttoned my car and drove my coat home in the rain after loving you. I goed on red and stopped on greeting, floating somewhere in between, being here, being there, after loving you. I rolled my bed and turned down my gown, slightly confused, but I don't care. Laid out my teeth and gargled my gown, then I stood up, and laid myself down to sleep after loving you. What I love about these poems is the way that they can take us out of ourselves and into the lives of others. And sometimes they are fun and buzzy and playful. And sometimes they are serious and powerful and invite us to a kind of empathy that we take with us into the world. I want to share this poem, parts of this poem called Home by Warsan Shire, who is a Kenyan refugee in London. No one leaves home unless home is the mouth of a shark. You only run for the border when you see the whole city running as well. Your neighbors running faster than you, breath bloody in their throats. The boy you went to school with, who kissed you dizzy behind the old tin factory, is holding a gun bigger than his body. You only leave home when home won't let you stay. You have to understand that no one puts their children in a boat unless the water is safer than the land. No one burns their palms under trains beneath carriages. No one spends days and nights in the stomach of a truck feeding on newspaper unless the miles traveled means something more than the journey. No one crawls under fences. No one wants to be beaten, pitied. No one chooses refugee camps or strip searches where your body is left aching. No one could take it, could stomach it. No one skin would be tough enough. The go-home blacks, refugees, dirty immigrants, asylum seekers, sucking our country dry, them with their hands out. They smell strange, savage, messed up their own country, and now they want to mess ours up. How do the words, the dirty looks, roll off your backs? Maybe because the blow is softer than a limb torn off, or the insults are easier to swallow than rubble, than bone. I want to go home, but home is the mouth of a shark. Home is the barrel of a gun, and no one would leave home unless home chased you to the shore, unless home told you to quicken your legs, to leave your clothes behind, crawl through the desert, wade through the ocean, down, save, be hunger, beg, forget pride. Your survival is more important. No one leaves home until home is a sweaty voice in your ear saying, leave, run away from me now. I don't know what I've become, but I know that anywhere is safer than here. I used that poem when I did work at the border, helping people to understand immigration and helping people to understand refugees and asylum, not only as the pull of what a great country this must be, it is often, sometimes, but also as the push of what must make someone leave their home and travel through the desert, put their child on a rickety boat. These poems help us to experience the perspective of another and also help us to see more deeply into our own selves. Some of them invite us into a deep noticing. A few of you have done with me before this practice of Lectio Divina. Lectio Divina is typically a practice of reading scripture in a way that helps you look deeply into yourself and look deeply into what God is calling you to. In our setting, I use poetry to help us look deeply into ourselves and to imagine what the world, what our futures, what possibility is calling us to. And I typically will read a poem and ask you to notice the imagery, to think about how this poem is speaking to your life, to reflect on what this poem is calling you to. One of them that I like is called Reincarnate by Patricia Fargnoli. I want to come back as that ordinary garden snail, carting my brown striped spiral shell onto the mushroom, which has sprouted after overnight rain, so I can stretch my tentacles toward the slightly drooping and pimpled raspberry, sweet and pulsing. A thumb that bends on its stalk from a crown of small leaves, weighed down by the almost translucent, shining drop of dew. I have been reaching and reaching toward my whole life. And because I like to end with hope, one more from Rosemary Watola Tromer, called Hope. Hope has holes in its pockets. It leaves little trails so that we, when anxious, can follow it. Hope's secret? It doesn't know the destination. It knows only that all roads begin with one foot in front of the other. Poetry can be a window to see more clearly, a bridge that slides across our differences to a sense of greater understanding. An invitation to enter into our world and ourselves more deeply, with greater intention and attention. It is serious, it is playful, it is beautiful, it is sometimes ugly. All of it, hopefully, can help us live a life more rich and vibrant, can help us connect to our siblings, our communities, our world in a way that feels more open and more meaningful. I hope that you have found something here that touches you, and I invite you to share your own. What poetry has shaped your life? What are the lines, the images that stay with you, that you cannot help but share with others? We still have more than half a month. Let's lean into National Poetry Month as we share with each other. Our final hymn to sing today is In Your Gray Hymnal. It's a new one for us, and I have confidence that we can enjoy it. Number 316, This Old World.
This old world is full of sorrow, full of sickness, weak and sore. If you love your neighbor truly, love will come to you the more. We're all children of one family. We're all brothers, sisters too. If you cherish one another, love and friendship come to you. This old world can be a garden full of fragrance, full of grace. If we love our neighbors truly, we must meet them face to face. It is said now, love thy neighbor, full of know well that is true. This the sum of human labor, true for me as well as you.
I have a few announcements for you. One of them, they're lengthy, so you might want to take a seat. The board is happy to report that we have appointed Kent Martin to the Board of Trustees. Kent will be filling the seat vacated by Carol Mason, and we are eager for Carol to rejoin us and perhaps serve on the board again. We also want to remind you of the invitation by the First Baptist Church down the road to join them next week as they celebrate the anniversary of their men's chorus, and our men's chorus will also be, that's a little men's chorus, also be joining and singing. The dinner is at 2 and the service is at 3, and we are all invited to participate in all of that. To remind you also that this month's congregational question, as our board tries to think expansively. And so there are papers that you can fill out. If you are joining us online, there is a link in your chat. The question to think about for this month: if money were no object, what is the bold thing that we can do for the future of this congregation? If money were no object, it might be hard to get yourself into that space. What is the bold thing that we can do for the future of this congregation? And I want to make a special appeal to you now for members and friends of this congregation to become part of the UU Chalice Lighters program. The program is a way for individual UUs to help support innovative projects from congregations that will help their own vitality or help them grow and extend their reach in their communities. The program offers grants 3 times a year, and so Chalice Lighters, hopefully you, hopefully we each, will contribute 3 times a year, or you can contribute it all once a year. The recommendation is $25 per cycle, but like our own pledging, there is no minimum. You can contribute as little or as much as is comfortable for you. It's a way really for congregations to support each other, for Unitarian Universalists to support each other as we try to live our values more loudly, more boldly in our communities. Some recent grants include, through their November cycle, the Cedarhurst UUs, a small 56-member congregation in Finksburg, Maryland, will undertake a major two-phase construction project to make its building more accessible and welcoming to people of all levels of mobility. The UU Fellowship of the Poconos, another tiny congregation, will add a much-needed part-time administrator. In their June cycle, the UU Church of Delaware replaced their wheelchair lift. The Congregation of Princeton, New Jersey, hired a part-time communications and membership coordinator. The UU Fellowship of Northern Westchester is creating a strategic plan to use its facilities in partnership with their community. We are making this appeal to you today because our own congregation is in the process of submitting a grant application. We are hoping to support a position for Director of Community Engagement, Partnerships, and Rentals. We think that this position will help us to more effectively reach beyond our walls. We're in the second stage of the process, and we also think that having members of this congregation enrolled in the program will increase our chances. And so we hope that you will consider participating in this program, if only to help increase our chances of earning a grant, but also because we want to be supporting creative, innovative work that congregations are doing to help spread Unitarian Universalism in their communities. There are brochures in the back of the room, and if you do decide to enroll, to support, please let me know, so that we can include that in our grant application. We also may have an appeal from Kent, a solidarity initiative with the UU Service Committee. Do we have that today? Unprepared. No worries, because we also have time. Stay tuned to hear about an important solidarity initiative with the UU Service Committee. It is the way that we are going to be able to support refugees in our area and also in the country. For now, though, you will find important announcements in your order of service. You'll find more details about some of the announcements that I've already shared in your order of service. And if you have announcements that you would like to share with the congregation, please get them to the office by Tuesday of the week that you would like them announced. Definitely not Thursday afternoon. We support the work of this congregation in many ways. And here's where that lapel mic would be helpful. Through the work of our hands, and also from the contributions of our pockets. And so the basket that is circulating now helps to support the work of this congregation in our own walls. Things like worship and religious exploration and adult programs, and having a building that we can open up and share with our community. And so it's going to keep moving around. The second basket that you will receive is for our Helping Hand Fund. That is a way that we are able to support local organizations doing good work that we support that are strengthening the East End. A portion of that to our minister's discretionary fund, which helps individuals in immediate need. We hope that you will give to each of these as generously as you can. Yes, thank you. We're like figuring things out. Please join us after worship for fellowship and light refreshments in our fellowship hall. These closing words are from Craig Rowland. As we take our leave, may we carry the light and warmth of our chalice into the world, not as a memory, but as a promise. A promise that you deserve a place where your voice matters, where your laughter is treasured and your silence is honored. You deserve a circle that sees your scars and your strength, your doubts and your radiance, and holds them all with care. Let us be that circle for one another, a community of fierce welcome, wild grace, radical hope. Go knowing you belong here. You always have. We extinguish our chalice with the unison words in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of wisdom, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.